Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. We have Tanisha here. We are going to be talking all about women's wellness. I am super psyched because we have women here listening and we want to know all the things. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I am the host here at her talk show. If you have not already subscribed, girl, what are you waiting for? These podcasts are guaranteed to have you thinking differently about your life and your business.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
If you are listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We have had over 600 women grace this stage. We are adding another one to the list today. Women's Wellness Empowerment Coach. Girl, what? Even that's a powerful title. She educates women on the importance and value of healthy eating and a lifestyle focused on mindfully caring for their bodies by proactively making choices that benefit them. True health and well-being are a combination of good choices. Yes. Positive mindset. Yes. Clear direction, girl, and a dedication to achieve a lasting goal. That's what we want, right? Empowering yourself to have a positive body image. So many of us are lacking that. She is a public speaker, a retreat host, and corporate wellness retreat.
Oh, it froze.
How are you doing all the things, girl? For real.
Yeah, I've been blessed. I have been blessed to have the capacity to do this. I always say my angels, my ancestors, they're all holding me down to be able to do this work. So I'm grateful for that because it is a lot.
Yeah. And I presume that you give a lot of the credit to your body's ability to be able to show up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way I eat, the things that I drink, it helps propel me because when I'm eating more processed food or more junk food, I feel it in my mind, body, and soul. And I'm like, okay, there is something to eating healthier and cleaner. It's really not a game. But I'm a living testimony of that. So I love that it's not a just preaching to people. It's like I really live this life truly.
Absolutely. So what led you? Were you always, or did something happen? Was there a pivot? Tell
Yeah,
us.
so I wasn't always plant-based vegan. I usually just say that I'm health conscious. Honestly, I don't really love these labels that the world loves to give us, but no, I was a meat eater predominantly all of my life. But life would have it that my mom had gotten diagnosed with having diabetes about 2016, 2017, and it's something that has been in my family. My grandma has passed from it. I've had cousins who have had their legs amputated, so it's something it really hit home. Yeah, when my mom was diagnosed with having it, and I was scared. And at this time, I was actually 30 pounds overweight myself. I'm a former college athlete, former personal trainer. So to me, it was like, oh, you just work out and you eat what you want a little bit and you try to have some smoothies. And that was my life. And that's what we did too. And we had a lot of fried foods back then as well. So the doctor put her on a lot of different medications, such as metformin, and nothing was working. Honestly, she was declining, if anything. So I remember there were days when my mom would come down the stairs saying, "We're gonna go to the store," and then by the time she hit the door, she was like out of energy. Yeah, it was devastating to see that because my mom is extremely lively person. She loves going out, shopping, all the things. She tires me out, to believe it or not. And so when this was happening, I was like, I don't know what to do, but the meds aren't doing it. And I was just so fortunate to start going into research and I started seeing people like Dr. Sabi and these alternative healthcare practitioners that were actually helping people, but they were doing it through a vegan lifestyle and through herbs. And herbs just being things that cleanse our body. So I said, let me try it because my mom actually went temporarily blind for a couple of hours in a day. And that was the scariest part to me. seeing her say that she can't see was, I mean, it was terrifying.
Wow. For just like moments, like you were standing there and she's like, right now I cannot see.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of those moments where you didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know how long it would last for. I didn't know if it was, permanent. Thankfully, it wasn't. But those are symptoms that come when people have diabetes, is that your vision can be impaired in addition to having dizziness, and she suffered from both. So, yeah,
Wow.
it was devastating. My dad was there too at this time, and I'm like, "Well, what? This can't be it." We're taught to take all these medications that it'll help, but at times it's a Band-Aid and it's not actually helping us. So when I started changing and doing I started cooking vegan food for the both of us, giving her these herbs. We went back to her doctor. He did her blood work. It was about a year and a half later. And he was like, I don't know what your daughter's done, but you're now deemed pre-diabetic and you don't need your meds. So I was like, this worked. I had no health background. I always like I literally dove in. I just studied what I saw and I implemented it. And I was like, okay, I'm here for this because now my mom doesn't have to take these meds. Side note, he didn't know that I took her off the meds during this time already. I was crazy with it, but I don't recommend it, but it worked. And I lost the weight in addition to that. But more importantly, my mom is healthy and alive. And that was the biggest blessing.
Wow. So stinking cool. And I'm assuming she probably lost a little bit of weight. Did she like how did she get some physical benefits?
Yeah, so her skin for one is glowing. She actually her skin was darker at the time. She just looked, how do I say, like the life was out of her face a little bit.
Mm,
But yeah, she did lose a little bit of weight, but my mom wasn't she's not a big person.
yeah.
So she was already kind of small, but she did lose a little bit of pounds. But the way that I was feeding, looking into different meals, it was more about making sure we got the amino acids, making sure that we still had good proportions. It wasn't just salads, which a lot of people think on this lifestyle. So yeah,
Yeah, I love that you're saying this because I think so you said diabetes?
yes.
So my I just found this out like over the last 2 years. I always thought diabetes went with obesity.
Mhm.
I just found out that you could look good and still have diabetes. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's a silent killer, honestly.
Wow.
'Cause she had type 2, I believe, and a lot of people who have that, they can appear, like you said, to be healthy. Athletes can have it. It really is a lot about what we're eating and how there's sugar everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're in January. I'm certain that there are a ton of individuals who made goals around being healthier, doing healthier. I would love to know, did you just like jump in cold turkey and just be like vegan? Or was there a progressiveness?
Mhm.
Was there some ups and downs? What did it kind of look like for you?
Yeah, so there was progression. So we stopped with not eating meat, and that for us was like cutting out the pork, cutting out beef, and I believe there was chicken as well. And then kind of went slowly into the pescatarian and vegetarian vegan. But that was when we went out. In the house, because I was making the meals more so, they were predominantly vegan meals at least 3 times out the week. So there was a progression. It wasn't like, not tomorrow, we're just doing it cold turkey. And I've heard about people doing that, but my mom, she's in her 60s. Like that's kind of hard. And also myself too. I didn't know any other thing else besides to eat meat in my life. So
Yeah.
I wanted to give ourselves that grace,
Yeah.
to take it, I wouldn't say slow, I'd say at a medium pace that
Yeah.
we did it. And it was still beneficial because the herbs helped clean our blood out at the same time too. So to me, I always tell people like don't just rush into it because it's not sustainable. And I'm really big on sustainable habits. And that's how we stay on the track instead of the new year, new me type of thing. Like I'm just gonna change automatically. It's hard for your brain to switch.
Totally. Yeah, and I think so often we sit in this mindset of shame and guilt for, like, not doing it perfectly, not we might accidentally, if you're trying to cut up on sugar, you might accidentally, not accidentally, but you might decide, like, accidentally have a donut. You might decide to have a donut in between, and then it's like, fail. Let's just start again, 2025, and then the whole thing just falls off the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this example of, hey, listen, we just went slowly, and kind of just gave ourselves grace, as you're putting it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really big. I love that you said that because I actually preach that. Like, there's no shame, there's no guilt on your wellness journey. Because why are we doing that to ourselves? Like, we're already living in such a chaotic, tough world. We have to show ourselves compassion and kindness when we're making these big changes in our lives.
Yeah. So you've been talking a lot about herbs.
Mhm.
What are some of your go-tos for your health and wellness?
I have so many because I have a whole apothecary cabinet, and for those that don't know, that's just a cabinet with a bunch of herbs. It's simple. I honestly, it depends on how I'm feeling, but I would say staples for me are definitely ginger, raspberry leaf. I do enjoy peppermint or spearmint. And then I have some fantasy ones like fennel. There's alfalfa. There's a whole list. Honestly, there's
Where
activated
do you
charcoal.
get herbs?
Yeah, so sometimes I'm going to my local spiritual botanica to get herbs from, or sometimes it's Amazon because there are certain businesses that are pretty holistic, and I'll just go from like Star West Botanicals is actually one that I'll get my stuff from because it's just the loose leaf herbs. So not the tea bags because sometimes tea bags have chemicals inside of it. So you just gotta be careful. If they're biodegradable, then go for it. But this company specifically, they give you a bag of leaves. So then I transport that into my mason jars and then I just have a fun time with them.
That's great, and then you put it in one of those, like, strainers or, like, a little monkey that, like, hangs on the
Yeah.
side or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I put in my measuring cup and then I strain it off and then I have my cup of tea. But one thing I love with herbs is that they're so versatile. So I don't only just drink them. I actually put them in my hair as well.
With, like, an
So
oil?
yeah, I mix it with an oil, or sometimes it's just my leave-in conditioner. So I'll put it in a spray bottle, and it's just a herbal rinse, and I'm putting that inside my hair.
Wow, what is your fave for that? Is that for a scent, or is that for the nutrition? Both?
That's for the nutrition. So I'm a big believer that if you can drink it, you should be able to use it anywhere, or vice versa. So your oils, if you could put it on your body, for example, olive oil, you could put that in your hair, you could put that on your body, and you could cook with it. If it's fully natural. If it's
Yeah.
not, then that's not something I would want on my skin because that can cause irritations.
Yeah.
So something like canola oil, I wouldn't do that with. But one of my favorites, actually, I learned everything is always trial and error. Just trying different things. So I love gardening. So last summer I grew okra. And the seeds from okra are really good for anyone who has dandruff or wants more moisture inside of their hair. And I had a little bit of flakiness going on due to stress, because stress is always the biggest killer of everything. And actually, it's funny because my family, they're from South America, and they always talked about using okra. I'm like, I'm not gonna boil this and put this in my hair because it's very slimy. If anyone's ever cooked or used okra, so I decided I didn't want anything to go to waste. So the seeds, I would take it and put hot boiling water on it and you let it sit for about 15 minutes. And after that, you strain it and you do see slime, which is it's fascinating. So I started putting that in my hair either as a slick, like to slick my hair down, or to put it in as a leave-in conditioner. And I would add like tea tree oil, which is good for cleaning out your hair as well. So I love adding extra oils to it to give it that smell, like that fragrant smell of what we're used to. But for me, it's just the health benefits. And what's great is that I can also drink okra water if I have too much left over as well. And that's a cleanser for the body.
How do you spell oak or
Mhm.
okra? How do you spell
Okra. Yep, it's OKRA.
OKRA? Can I just buy this at my local grocery store?
You sure can.
Oh, can I really? I was joking.
No, seriously, yeah, because it's a vegetable. This one wouldn't be considered a herb, but it's just cool how you can use certain vegetables in the same manner as the herbs. So yeah, you're local, like A lot of Asian markets, Spanish markets have it. I believe Trader Joe's or Whole Foods probably sells it too, but I prefer going to a Asian market because also it's cheaper than Whole Foods.
Wow. I was just having a conversation with a woman who is going all in on helping African American women um, embrace their natural hair. She did this whole I'm on this, like, networking app called the Owl app, and you can just call random people and just, like, have conversations with them. So I have, like, curly hair on my profile, so she called me up, and we just had this conversation about hair. It was just the most awesome conversation. But she was talking about how much money African American women are almost forced to
Mm-hmm.
spend in order to, like, be appropriate in society, because she said the I don't even know, racism is not the word, but, like, the for the natural hair, people don't
Hmm.
look at it as being, like,
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yes.
And she's like, "You don't know unless you have it." And I said, not even at all trying to pretend to understand anything, but
Right.
even me with my curly hair, there
Yeah.
is totally a difference between,
Yeah.
like, blonde, straight, blue-eyed women
Oh yeah.
and, like, me growing up in
Hmm.
school or high school and stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there is a segregation there, so I can't even imagine that. But anyways, we were talking about dandruff, and she
Mm.
said with all of the chemicals that were pretty much forced to put in our hair, we then get dandruff
Mhm.
on top of it. It's
Yeah.
like this whole crazy cycle. And then, we're living in poverty, and
Mhm.
then we're forced to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on our hair to be able to be accepted in society, which then keeps us in poverty.
It's a whole loop. It
Yeah, I had never even, I'm like, girl, this is insanity. But
Mhm.
anyways, we talked a little bit about dandruff, so I'm gonna totally call her up and tell her
Mhm.
about this,
Yeah.
because she went all natural, like, 2 or 3 years ago. She's just done with the whole thing, and she cut all her
Yeah.
hair off. She
Mm.
shaved all her hair off, and she's going all natural now,
Yeah.
but she still has a little bit of dandruff, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
totally call her up and tell her about this.
I love that. And just to piggyback, like that's the beautiful part of what I do with wellness is that people will just think like, oh, you're just going to talk about herbs or veganism. It's like, no, I've taken myself through all these different journeys because I went on my natural hair journey. And actually, it was a hairdresser who taught me first that I can use an herb such as burdock root in my hair. She made a rinse and I was fascinated. I'm like,
Wow.
"What?" And she was the one who was like, "You don't need all these products." And I did go down my journey on like veganism, like, "Oh, I'm only gonna get like this 6 product line of vegan products for my hair." And now your hair journey can be so simple. I literally use 3 products and 2 of them I make myself. And
Wow.
that's the point of when I say I'm an empowerment coach is like, I want to teach people that you don't need to rely on corporate America to buy all these different things. Yes, it does take some time, but once you train someone, once you teach them, then now you know it forever. And even if you don't want to make it yourself, there's people like me who either have the products or can direct you to people because I only deal with business owners who make natural products. And so that's the beautiful part, like, when you're in this space, even that woman, then we can lean on each other to teach each other these different things, and you get excited when you're on this journey, like, "Oh, I'm taking care of myself, I'm putting myself first and not putting it in somebody else's hands." There's a lot of empowerment and self-love that comes with that.
Definitely. Definitely, definitely. Um, when it comes to herbs, I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, but I will say I am sold on it, even though I don't spend a lot of time trying to figure any of it out. When I had my son, he's now 19. This was a long ass time ago, but his mother is an herbalist, or his grandmother, his dad's mother, is an herbalist.
Oh,
I did not take anything. I didn't take, and I don't recommend this to anybody. Like, not trying to tell anybody to do this. I did not take any prenatal. I did not take anything during the entire pregnancy. Um, right before, about a month before I was due, she had me every single day drinking like 4 different teas that are supposed to, like, do something with the menstrual and the, not menstrual, the, pubic bone and
okay.
the bear thing, I don't know. My child was almost 10 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
I'm little. I'm 5'4". Like, I was a size 2 when I got pregnant, not like a big person. And I was I had him in 4 hours. I pushed 3 times.
Wow.
And the stuff that she had me on was, I don't know the technical terms for it, but it was for the loosening up of all of this stuff and for a quick
Mhm.
childbirth. Girl,
That's amazing.
yeah,
What? I
4
would wonder
hours.
what those herbs are. Wow.
No medication.
Love
I
it.
completely natural.
Mhm.
It was insane.
Mm.
And it's kinda weird now that I'm talking to you. I don't know why I didn't look more into that. I never really thought of it until I'm talking here with you.
Yeah. It's that is a beautiful story. You should tell a lot of women about this. I mean, I know they're gonna hear this, but it's just to show that everyone thinks that you need all these pills and stuff to help with carrying a child. But if you think about it, I'm very big on the ancestors and what they were doing before these times. They didn't have all this stuff. They
Yeah,
were popping out babies left and right, and they didn't need all this support. They used what Mother Nature gave to us. So that I don't have children, so that is I might have to call you when that's time to find out because
yeah,
that's a beautiful testimony to just hear one. You don't have to be in so much pain. Like 3 pushes,
for
that's
real.
insane. I've never heard that, and I work with Earths, but I'm not in that space. Like doulas would know more about that
Yeah,
information, and that's just helping women have push through their pregnancy. I
yeah.
love that. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I know that you talk about, herbs with menstruation, which is
Yes.
why I slipped there with that. What, tell us about this because we're all interested in this.
hmm So there's this, I will say, myth that your period has to be your worst enemy. My friend used to call it like the on flow or the terrible time of the month. And one, I will say, it is building a relationship with your body and trusting yourself. So some herbs that I love to use are raspberry leaf tea, and that tea helps with your digestion, but it actually helps with menstrual cramping as well. But here's the thing, ladies, you don't want to wait until your period hits and you're like, oh my God, let me run and take this tea now. Because that's what we love to do, right? Especially with things like Tylenol, all that. It's like, oh, I have it now. Let me start taking things. I'm very big on being proactive in your life. That is going to help you in the long run. So, for example, if you follow your cycle and you know about in 2 weeks you're going to have your cycle, start drinking the tea then so your body can get used to it. And then that helps you. So, in addition to raspberry leaf, ginger is amazing for anything because it's an anti inflammatory. And it's actually been known, and you guys can double check this, that it's almost as just as effective as Tylenol because it is helping get rid of that inflammation in the body. And, where we have a lot of blood that's going through at that time, some people have blood clots. It's helping loosen up the body. Ginger is also great for when you have stomach aches too. So those two are probably I'd say double power couple. You can throw in Damiana, which helps as well with alleviating cramps too. So sometimes I use all three and I brew a tea together. You can do that. You can mix herbs together, put the hot water over it, let it steep for about 10 minutes, strain it, and then you can drink it.
How do
But
you spell the other one? Dama what?
Damiana, yeah, it's Damiana.
And then are you putting anything in this? You put a little honey or do you put a little you just
No,
drink it
I
straight?
I drink it straight. You don't have to. I have just gotten to the point where I'm a tea enthusiast. I'm a herbalist. I can just drink it like that because I'm drinking that one for health benefits. I'm
Yeah.
drinking that one so I'm not crying on the couch during that time. And this is coming from someone who had immense cramps and I barely could move. Sometimes I would have really bad headaches during my cycle.
Wow.
And in addition to that, that was when I was on birth control and that's supposed to help, and it did. But I realized actually how much less my flow became as well when I started using herbs. So I'm no longer on birth control. And it's just interesting to see how the body adapts. We really, how can I say this? Like we can be in control of our bodies in a way. Don't get me wrong, there are still months where it doesn't feel great, but it's more of an uncomfortable feeling. It's not that I can't show up for a meeting pain. And I know that some women suffer from that. My mom actually used to throw up when she would have her cycle. And imagine if she knew about these herbs then.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. Very, very cool. So you can actually just steep
Mhm.
all
Steep.
of them
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
What is your I mean, I already know the answer to this. I shouldn't even ask, but I want to
Mm.
talk about let's just talk about this. Uh organic, how to I know there's a whole thing with this,
Yeah. So
um
the beautiful part with these herbs, if you go to that company that I mentioned, Star West Botanicals, it's already all natural. So the way that their process is, you don't have to worry about it. So that's the beautiful part. Now, if you're getting ginger root instead of ginger powder, so right now I'm using the ginger powder from that company, it just makes life much easier, then I would go for organic. But the leaves, yeah, it's fine.
awesome. Um ginger powder, like are you putting that in and it's dissolving?
Yeah, yeah, the ginger powder. So once you mix it with the hot water, yeah, there might be a little bit left over, which is fine, but after you strain it, you'll just have your straight up liquid.
So does it taste like ginger?
I mean, the tea does, yes, but
I love ginger.
you also will taste a little hint of the raspberry leaf too. Damian is pretty bland, but the raspberry does give you a bit of raspberry taste. So the cool thing too, if let's say if someone doesn't like hot tea, for example, it's the summertime. Let it sit down for about a good 2 hours, and you can add a little bit of cold water if you like. And then that's when sometimes I'll sweeten it because now it's just a regular drink. So that's the cool thing with getting our water intake in. It doesn't always have to be so difficult. Like if you're drinking tea, if you're having a fresh juice, there's water content in all of that. So you're helping yourself during your cycle and you're getting hydration, which is needed during that time, especially. And it tastes good if you want to add some honey or agave to it, if that's needed.
Yeah, beautiful. I know you might not be a specialist in this, but you did kind of mention it, so I wanna just ask just in case. But you mentioned headaches.
Mhm.
Is there an herb that can help us with headaches or migraines? Do you know of anything?
Yeah, so I take peppermint, and you're right, I'm not a specialist in the headache department, but I do take peppermint tea for that for myself. I actually do love, and this is gonna seem out the box, but it has worked. So everything you people think of herbs as like these fancy things that I'm mentioning, right? But most of the time herbs are in our cabinet already. So something such as cayenne pepper, pretty much considered an herb. It's a seasoning. So I use for when I have a headache, I do hot water mixed with sea salt and cayenne because a lot of times it's the blood is being constricted, right? And like we need the flow to go through. And sea salt helps with it, but the cayenne pepper is anti-inflammatory. So I do that in addition to having a cup of tea because when the headache's there, it's throbbing. And then the part of the mindfulness is where I incorporate the mind, body, and soul. I put on binaural beats as well. So I set the teas, I have the frequencies going on, and then I just kind of close my eyes and let it rock out for a little bit because sometimes you need time. But to answer the question, the cayenne pepper and the peppermint would be two of my favorites.
I feel like we should be very cognizant of how much cayenne pepper we are using.
Yes, yeah, it would be more of a dash. Yeah. Unless you love it caliente, then by all means do your thing. But yeah, definitely a dash.
I remember, I was at some sort of a juice place, and they had I'm, like, obsessed with ginger, and, I used to go to this place with ginger shots, and they had this one, it was, like, ginger, pineapple, and cayenne pepper,
That sounds
and I
great.
was like, "This sounds like the pineapple outweighs, and let me just try it." Girl,
It was hot.
it was so freaking hot. I did drink it all, but, and it was a shot. It was like one of those ones that are like
Hmm.
only this big or whatever, but it probably took me like an hour, and you could see it was probably a dash actually if you have the measuring. Like I actually have the measurings. It has like a dash, a pinch, like I
Hmm.
actually have the thing. It probably was a dash. But it's a shot, so you could see the red cayenne like settling, so I had to like keep shaking it. Uh, it's hot as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, but also mixing it with the ginger is spicy too.
Yeah,
So The
Yeah, but I'm
pineapple
used
was
to
in the
that
middle.
spice.
It didn't have a
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah, I was used to that spice. But yeah, I thought the pineapple juice would get, which it probably did. I shouldn't say thought, it probably did. I
Mhm.
probably would have died. Um, Not really, but it was hot. So, yes, with, what we're talking about here, be
Mhm.
mindful of
Mhm.
the cayenne pepper.
Yes.
Work
Yes.
your way up. Give
Right.
yourself grace as we talked about.
Right. Because we want you to drink it. It's great. It's great for the body. It's great for circulation too. So just a little bit. Start off small.
I love it. So while you're talking about all these teas, I feel as if we should mention journaling, which you kind of, are alluding to here, like sitting down, listening to music. What are your thoughts on journaling? How has that helped your journey?
Yeah. So I love journaling. And this is coming from someone who only started in 2022. So I did it as a kid, which I'm sure a lot of people had a little journal like in middle school. Right. Like I did too. And then after that, I didn't use it again. I just stopped. So I got introduced to it through a book actually called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and it made you do 3 pages every day. Now, I say made, I didn't have to do it, but when
Yeah.
I'm committed, I'm committed. And I was going through my own, I'd say dark night of the soul is a spiritual time for me. And I I needed something to just one jot down my thoughts, which is one thing that journaling is amazing for, just getting out of your head and putting those thoughts onto the paper. And sometimes those thoughts are negative, sometimes they're positive, but either way, everything is energy. So if you're holding on to that negative thought inside of your body, that's going to give to the stress, the physical pain, the emotional pain. So for me, journaling helped with that. And during this time, I was just literally writing down things from today's a good day. It's sunny outside, or I got a headache and I feel like crap and I don't know what I'm doing in my life. And this move is really harder than I thought. Like whatever came to me is what I did. So I think that it's imperative for people to have that holistic mindset of mind, body, and soul of tapping into themselves. I also think it's a great way to see where you are to where you want to be. And sometimes I like to reflect. So after the year is over, look back and see what life brought me.
Mhm.
What were my experiences? How was I feeling? It's a good way to track your mental health as well, too. So, but I also think I should say that it doesn't always have to be written. I'm big on voice notes, and that's a form of journaling too. It's just getting it out.
Mm.
So there's no right or wrong, whichever way it works for someone. If you only have 2 minutes, because sometimes we're on this wellness journey, like I need an hour. I love taking a good hour when I have it, but sometimes journaling is 5 to 10 minutes. And if you can't write, take out your phone, which we all have, and they all have voice recorders, and
Yeah.
use a memo that way.
Beautiful, beautiful. The other thing that I really like to add in when we're talking about journaling is I feel as if sometimes individuals feel as if they take on something like journaling that they have to then be a journaler and they have to commit to being a journaler for the rest of their life until they die. And you don't have to be. You can literally pick up journaling today,
Yeah,
do it for the duration of which you need it, and then not journal again forever or for a while. Like
right.
we can pivot and turn and refocus and things happen and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's so much interesting the guilt that we have. Like I remember feeling guilty for not finishing a journal,
Mm. Oh,
and
yeah.
it'd be like 3 years later and I'm like, "Oh, I should finish that journal and just start there." But like I just got a new journal. So then there's this whole
Right.
it's so dumb.
Yeah, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. I mean, I remember I missed a day, and I was because I'm one of those though, like when I commit, I want to see it all the way through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh
Love
my
that.
God, I didn't even realize it though. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed a day. But it was like still a happy moment. And I'm like, huh. And I was about to give myself shit for it. Like,
Yeah.
and my friend's like, don't do that. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, but because I was on like a 6 month streak.
Wow. Yeah.
And because when I see the benefits in something, that's the only difference I'll say is like, if it's working for you and
Yeah.
you really enjoy it, then continue to do it. It can be every single day that you do it. But if you're like, well, I want to journal 3 times a week and that's what you want to set up for yourself, that's fine too. I do
Yeah.
journal every day, but now it's like, well, maybe I'm only writing a paragraph. Instead, before she made us do 3 pages, now maybe I do a paragraph or a
Yeah.
page or whatever pours out to me that day. Because sometimes it's not much.
Yeah.
But if I'm voicing it, then I might have more to say because maybe I'm talking about something that actually happened during my day. So the pressure that we put on ourselves, and women particularly, because men don't always do this. And sometimes we need to take a page out of their book. Like we will just be so unkind to ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why, girl? If you're the first person who matters, and then you can fill up everybody else's cup when you've taken care of yourself, like if you didn't journal, it's cool. If you did, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Just be fine with each, like basically either side of the coin is how I'm working on looking at life, and that's why I'm trying to push out to others too. So I love that you said that.
Absolutely. Well, this has been fabulous.
Have a good time.
I so appreciate you being here and sharing all of your awesomeness with us. I took a ton of notes. I'm so excited to try some of these new things. And I'm also going to look on the website, Star West website, right? Star West
Yeah,
Botanic.
so go on to Amazon and type in Star West Botanicals.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. If
I
you
will
want that 2-day shipping, you can go straight to Star West, but I like it quick. So
do like the 2-day shipping over
yeah.
here, her nation.
Yes.
Very cool. And I'm excited to check out the orca.
Yes.
Okra.
Okra. Yep.
Okra. I
Yeah.
gotta
Hit me up when you are. I'll walk you
I
through it. Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, I've done all kinds of things with my hair. I still dye it. I'm 40, so I have like a ton of gray hair. I shouldn't say that as if all 40-year-olds have gray hair. Sorry about that. I am 40 and I have a ton of gray hair. And so yeah, I did the whole like no poo shampoo thing for a long time, for probably about 6 months. But
Mm.
then every time I would dye my hair, it's alcohol. So it just defeats the whole thing, because the whole thing with not washing your hair is the oils, right? So then I stopped dyeing my hair. So then I was doing the whole gray hair thing with the no poo thing. And girl, I'm telling you, we don't need, you already said this, we don't need any hair products. My hair was perfect. The curls were perfect. The issue is, the reason I stopped was I didn't need to. I decided to start dyeing my hair again. I just couldn't do it. I
I
couldn't
feel
do
you.
it. I
It's
couldn't
all
do
good.
it. So I grew it out to like maybe right here with gray, which for my curly hair, that's like long. That's like
Yeah.
down to here. And
Yeah.
that would have been a good length if I had straight hair. I would have just chopped it there. But to chop, and no way. So I'm gonna wait.
Well,
But it was really cool seeing that and
yeah.
recognizing that part of the industry.
Mhm. Yeah.
So anyways, that's my story.
I love
All
that.
right. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up here?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that this was helpful for everyone that's out there. I would just leave you with like holistic is realistic. It's something that I use a lot when speaking to people. You can reclaim your health and fall back in love with yourself, or if you're just looking to improve yourself, just by taking small steps. Don't rush, be
Yeah,
on your own time, and just continue to love on yourself and make sure that your cup is filled.
I love that. Who should be reaching out to you? Who do you help?
Yeah, seems like everyone these days, but I cater to women, women entrepreneurs, women in the corporate space who are just looking for these type of ways to help themselves outside of the traditional Western medicine, pretty much, or just mindfulness tactics that can help you as well.
And where can everyone find you?
So my website, www.mswellnessllc.com. Also, you can check me out on socials, so we can drop those links. I have Instagram, plant-based vibes, or my LinkedIn, which is actually my name, Tanisha Naughton.
Plant-based vibes. Is that Insta?
That is Insta, but without the D. So PLANTBASEVIBES. Yeah,
That's a
I'm all
cool
about the
name.
music. Thank you. I'm all about so when one thing I will say when working with me, it's not your typical wellness empowerment coach. I'm very big on music. It has a very big influence on my life. And when you know how certain frequencies actually affect you in the music you're listening to and how that affects the body, it's like a whole nother game. So that's why I have the plant-based vibe. So we're talking about food, we're talking about your health, and we're talking about music too.
Wow, that is freaking cool.
Thank you.
I love it. To those of you resonating with all of the goodness that we shared here, Miss MS Wellness LLC.com. As she said, it is an clickable link in the description wherever you are watching us at. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with us, sharing your wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. To our dedicated listeners, make sure to follow, like, share. Once again, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I am the host here, and I am going to invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation, also in a link below, where we continue to have uplifting conversations just like this one every single